see. Let me make sure they get on liftoff here. We've had some problems lately. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, we'll talk about it openly, as we always do. I woke up this morning and I heard raw, real, and responsible. Rules of the road. Okay,
Yeah.
man, this has been this. Okay, so one of the things that's been happening has been over the last 3 days. You asked me how am I doing? I'm doing great. I feel great. I'm not in any pain. I am purging in dream state, in lucid dreaming. But what I have noticed is my days are like sequentially perfect. Like this morning, it was Shanine and then Marina and then the subject matter. And now you're here and I feel the flow. I see the flow. And Shanine says, put on your tin hat. Let's see. We got 31 people in. We're going to play the intro real quick for a minute, 19 seconds. And we're going to jump right into the conversation with Dr. Joe.
Okay. I'll
All
just
right.
share this.
All right. Be right back. Yeah, I screwed up. It says Zahara Celestial, and I'll have to go in and change that. God, that pisses me off because I've gotten real good at not doing that, and I've had an expansive morning, and so I love coming on with Dr. Joe. It's not Zahara, everybody. It's Dr. Joe, and I'll go change it on all the different
I
platforms
could be
after the.
Sahara. I could be her if she wanted me to, because I'm, shape shifted and all that.
I can actually do it while we're talking. When I volley the ball back to you,
Yeah.
and this is what I was going to say. I love doing shows with you because it's like it's not a match. But I love the way we volley back and forth. Right. I'm going to kick it off because I gotta like expel all of this that's happened this morning. This energy that's come in, which I know as an individual goes, so goes a collective. So I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning, and I woke up and I was alert and ready to go. And so I went downstairs and took care of some stuff that I need to take care of. And then I worked till 8, and then I laid back down. And then I roused about 10:30 in the morning. And for 5 minutes, I started getting this stuff in, right? And it was like, fuck agenda. And I say this from the core of my unconditional love. Fuck agenda. Fuck external judgment. And I say this with respect and honor and reverence. Okay. Thank you for letting me see these things so that I can find the power in myself and I can expand it. So I have certain dynamics flowing. I'm there for 5 minutes, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to go on a meme tear today, and I'm going to go on a rant today, and I'm going to say I've had enough of this shit. Okay, the rules of the road are they're all R's, right? Rest, raw, real, responsible, relaxed. And this is speaking from the first person. This means this applies to me. And these are the waters that I'm going to swim in. And if you want to swim in my pool, or you want to mix our pools together, this is the frequency that I'm holding myself to. And it's a full-time job 24/7. So if I don't answer your messages, if I don't respond to your request, if I don't meet your expectations, if I don't respond to the codependent frequency that you're conscious or unconscious of, and you send it my direction. Now, I'm speaking from my own experience. I'm not saying I'm God. I'm just saying that, this applies to everybody. Respect my silence. I'm going to respect yours. Just because you lob a tennis ball across the court to me. Here's what I told my friend who called me. So 5 minutes, I'm laying in bed. I'm thinking, da, 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 and all of a sudden I get a message from the beautiful, brave, beloved Shanine Moulin, right? And I'm like, she's like, da, 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 da. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're on the same page. Boom, 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 boom. Let's talk on the phone. And we did. And it's the same thing. The energy is there. It's palpable. It's happening. You call it the great divide, call it whatever you want. And then Marina Govier, one of our beautiful Soulogy team members, sends me a note, or I send her a note, and I said, hey, I have a quick plug-in show today because we had to cancel. Can you do a post, an ad? Do you have time? And so she goes, oh, that's so funny. I was just going to call you. Can you talk for 5 minutes? So I said, I'll call you right now. So then I call her, and it keeps saying she's on another call. She's on another call. She's on another call. Well, I said, well, just let me know when you're off. So what had happened was she had sent a note. She thought it was being sent to me, and she sent it to Shanine, who I had just mixed with. Now they're on the phone talking. Okay. So this sequential the way it's unfolding, this sequential unfoldment of the frequency of synchronicity is there. What disrupts and distorts it is the let's say the inverted matrix frequency that's only being projected, in my opinion, on the earth now. Thank you, Franco Di Nicola. By our own programming within ourselves. So it's okay. This was the other one that I'm working on. This started last night. All we have to do is say no. Okay? I can say no. Now, this is me, and I'm just using me as an example. I can say no to mask. I can say no to voting. Okay? I can say no to the quarantine. I can say no to the COVID virus having any power over me or anything else outside of me. I can say no and still love whatever I'm saying no to. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. From the individual comes true oneness. Okay? So it's not about me making a big grandiose expression or video or post. It's about me in the field of my own private personal energy, where I share space with the universe, which is each one, anything outside of me. And it is in my sovereignty to say no. It is my sovereignty to say no to whatever I desire to. External judgment has no power over me unless I permit it. I am soul, you are soul, and soul is the goddess. Hell yeah, I said it. This is the post I'm working on. So to sum it up and send it back over to you, we're in a space now where everybody is being pulled out on the carpet like never before, and the shit is in your face. So if you want to throw shade, your fucking shade, throw it on yourself, because here's what I learned from Morgan Lee. Somebody throws shade on you, don't say a word. If you don't know what to say in a balanced state, don't say a word. You know why? Because the shade has nowhere to stick on you, and it goes back to them. You're doing them a favor in pure unconditional love by letting them swim in their own shit, as you would be doing me a favor by letting me swim in my own shit. And this is okay. This is the raw, the real, and the responsible. This is where we're at. It's never them. It's always me. And this is where the rubber meets the road. It's time to walk the talk. And the projection is not going to stand. You know? It's your ball.
I've just got no idea what you've just been going on about.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Yeah, of
Well,
course I do. Real, raw, authentic,
yeah.
recuperation, rest, relaxation,
Yeah.
all me arse. Or as they say in the USA, all me ass. Yeah. It's funny you should say that, Todd, because my feeling is most of my life I was trained to be helpful to other people.
Yeah.
And I became what's called a gross people pleaser.
Yeah.
And I found out now that it was very, very difficult for me to say no because I used to feel so uncomfortable even thinking about if I say no to anybody now, what will they think of me? And that
Yeah.
wasn't their problem. It was my problem because I had no real self-esteem, no real self-worth, or no real feeling for myself at depth. I understand that. And I met a man called my sponsor in Alcoholics Anonymous. And he said to me, because I pointed out to him how many people that I'd helped over my life. In my mind, I was like a mixture between St. Francis of Assisi, because I love animals, and St. Joseph of Arimathea, because I'd helped so many people. But I was always looking out for oh, what a lovely fella he is.
Yeah.
And when I told my sponsor this, he said, Joe, he said, I've never met, I don't think, a more selfish person than you. And
Really?
then yeah. Then what I wanted to do is take out a knife and stab him in the head and cut his head off and cut his throat out and all that.
Yeah.
And you know what, Todd? He saved my life, this bloke, because he was the first person that had been directly honest with me. And he didn't give two shits about who I was, what qualifications I had, or anything else. He just give it me from what he'd learned about himself. Because I know, to quote a line from the AA big book, I call that the AABB, selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of all our problems. And I know that. And when I heard that, I didn't want to hear it. And he explained that that was called egocentricity.
Yeah.
And I know now, Todd, that that is the root of all our problems is
Yeah.
egocentricity. And egocentricity is only interested in one thing: me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't know, Todd, that I was such a selfish person because I was in denial and I'd fooled myself for years. And everybody around me could see that every action I took was all about me. And I was the last to find out, Todd. And I had to go, as you know, to go over the story again. But I went to my deathbed, really, right? And I knocked on the door of heaven and I said, let me in, please, because I can't cope anymore. And
Yeah.
they turned me round, kicked me up the arse and said, here, son, we'll show you how to do it. And your job, this is your soul's purpose, is to explain to people what you've gone through and just share your experience, your strength and your hope with other people. And Todd, I've done that now for coming up to 30 years, and this, I've said this before. I knelt down with this man who was a window cleaner, right? And my head was saying, who's this person? He can't possibly know what I know because he's just a lowly window cleaner. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I knelt down with him and I said the prayer, and I'm going to say the prayer again. God,
Yes.
I offer myself to thee to build with me and do with me as thou wilt.
Yeah.
Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do your will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May
Yeah.
I do thy will always. And Todd, I woke up the next day in a completely different world, and I haven't had a drink since that day, right? Because, I see, I'm getting a big thing up my spine now and out of my crown of my head, and that's always, in fact, it's a nice feeling. It's almost tantric. We'll talk about tantric later if you like. But what I'm trying to say to you, Todd, is I didn't know that I was such a narcissist. I didn't know that it was all about me because I was just a frightened little child trying
Yes.
to follow the instructions that had been given to me by people who were already and also victims of victims and frightened children. I didn't know that. And I see that now. And when I look around in the world now, Todd, and people say this, don't do that paternalistic thing on me or don't patronize me. I see everybody as children now. That's my vision all the time. I just see little children playing in the playground. There's some in that corner over there playing rounders and baseball or whatever you want to call it. There's some playing football over there, and there's some playing war games over there. That's how I see the world now. And my heart's fully open to it, because I know that we've all got certain growing to do, or certain jobs to do, if you like, certain soul programs in us, because I honestly see now the soul's got its own agenda. You know, each soul has got its own individual vibration that represents a key or a part of the orchestra. And not until, and I've heard you say this, not until all those keys are vibrating at the correct frequency can the whole symphony rest and relax and play beautiful music.
Yeah.
Pop, over to you, old chap.
I love it. That's an incredible prayer, by the way. I love it. So what are we dealing with? We're dealing with, we're all those children. First of all, we're all children. And that means that we're all innocent, you know. So what are we dealing with? We're dealing with agenda. We're dealing with judgment. We're dealing with go deeper now. We're dealing with what? Unresolved pain, unconscious programming. We all have been the recipients of the same thing. So if what I'm watching happen, okay, is external judgment coming into my field by virtue of my own choice. Okay? For instance, as an energetic explanation, I rarely, for the last year and a half, I rarely answer any comment on any post, or whether it's a compliment or a criticism coming my direction or from my direction. So if external judgment is presenting itself to me, I can simply choose not to say anything, not to participate. Another energetic example, and people may have an issue with this, and that's okay, because external judgment is not in my field. I choose to vote with my feet. I will not participate from my own perception, in this election, okay? And I haven't for years. I choose not to pick a side, because to me, it's all the same thing, okay? Now, these are just energetic explanations. So what are we dealing with? Now, my point is that if we want to see the disillusion, the disappearance, really, the dissolving of judgment, of external judgment coming at us, then your words before I started speaking this time are perfect, which is, I'm not judging anybody. I'm looking at them as the children that they are, just as I am a child, okay? And that's not the child from a human perspective. This is the golden child. This is the child that's been birthed by the masculine and the feminine coming together in divine union, energetically, in all regards. As Morgan says, a copy is a copy is a copy. If it happens within me, then now I'm going to create copies outside of myself. So the way I would sum this part of it up is, anything that we're dealing with that's giving us, or that's coming into our field, it doesn't necessarily have to knock us off our square. It can just be coming in to show us, hey, this is here. What do you want to do with this? Do you want to play in this sandbox? No. But my point is, if you want to see it go away, then it has to go away in yourself. And your advice is great. If we can you can look at everyone and say, you are a child of God. You are a child of the goddess. And then we dissolve the judgment. And this is what's happening. This is what's happening. And as a result of the fact that it's being wrung out of us at this time, we're seeing projection, we're seeing agenda. And it's okay. Don't damn it. Don't judge it. Just don't say anything, Just don't say a word, One last example. expectation. Okay. Now, Soulogy is expanding. We've had many, and I'm using this as an example, we've had many starts and stops as we tried to expand. Why? Because there was even 1 degree of duality in the construct, it will not survive. Okay. And I'm watching it happen all over the place with people that have been established for a long time. So now it's happening again. We've had some organic things happening with people coming in and saying, I just want to help. I just want to serve. I just want to be part of this frequency. I don't want anything out of it. Okay. That's the truth. Also with affiliated groups like Freedom Network and you and Shanine and different people, right? Different groups. It's very organic. This is key. And so at the same time, because of this expansion, like the David Icke thing, okay, it's like a deluge. Oh, I want to come on. I want to come on. I want to come on. And that's great. That's fantastic. That's cool. You know, what's also coming is I have a complaint. I have made a contribution. I've done this. I've done that. But behind it, there's an agenda, and that's okay. But I have the right, you have the right, we all have the right to say no. And sometimes, and look, if I say nothing, you might, that's a no. That's not a no like, hey, no, F off. That's just like a no, look, I can't even answer this because I cannot answer this from a balanced state that I can trust myself. So the best thing for me to do is shut my mouth. Okay. And if it comes to me, then it'll be okay. And I have a feeling what's happening is if we do that and we respect ourselves and honor ourselves and revere ourselves enough, then it is going to mirror out and it's going to align, and it may not ever, and a word may never be exchanged, and it will all come into alignment, you know?
I totally and utterly agree, because my feeling is that that space of sacred neutrality is where the motivation comes from unconditional love, or the soul guides us. And it guides me. I'll talk about me. It guides me through a feeling from this space here in my heart, deep in my heart. The head has got no input in it whatsoever. You know, this thing just emerges and the answer comes, if you like, the answer comes from a position of what's called choiceless awareness. There's no choice other than the right, correct answer comes, but not from my head. And if you're right, I mean, I agree with you. You see, I don't believe that if we have to use any willpower to supposedly put ourselves back into the position of neutrality, it's still false, because it's still a tension. My understanding is that you shake it off and let it go and wait for the answer to come then. Yeah. But the ego always wants to know what's happening before the event, just in case it doesn't like what's coming up. So it can duck and dive and dodge and weave and try and go round the fence. In my view and in my experience, right, and I've done this for a long time, Todd, so I have some understanding of this, right? You know, the ego wants to know. If you know what it wants to know, its ego, you can let go of everything then. Take no heed of it. And if you don't know what to do, best thing is don't do anything until you know what to do. And that's the story, you know. And I know that this out breath, that's the cleansing, neutralizing breath to me. It's all about, Osho used to say this, live in, let go. You know, have no expectations at all, because peace of mind, as I said on the last show, peace of mind is inversely proportional to expectations. What that means is the less peace of mind, the more expectations. Yeah. So if you don't expect anything and trust the universe to work through you, right, and get out of the way, like you said before, we allow God, right, which is us anyway at that deeper level, you know, we allow God or the soul to manage every single moment of our life. So we surrender the management of our life, We surrender the future to God. We surrender absolutely everything. Acceptance means I trust you wholeheartedly, God, and I let go absolutely into your care and keep. I know that you've got the best intentions for me, and you know what's best for me, even though I don't know myself. And that's where I'm up to, Todd. You know what, Todd? I'm okay with me today. End of story. And I really couldn't give a shit whether anybody else is not okay with me. I'm not interested anymore. What's become more important to me is the way I feel about me, right? You know, over to you, because I felt that was quite good.
Yeah,
That
that's
I think I'll listen
I
to this
love
and
this.
write it down.
Your peace of mind is in direct
Inversely
proportion.
proportional.
It's an inverse relationship. You're right.
Yes, indeed. As one
That
goes
is
up, the other goes down.
when you said that, I was like thinking about Outlander, and they have that Prince Bonnie. I don't know if you've seen Outlander, but so
Yes.
they have Prince Bonnie. You know, they wanted to make him king, Charles, I think. I don't know what his name
Yep. Bonnie Prince
but
Charlie.
Bonnie Prince, yeah. And he would always say, but right before he was going to say something profound like that, he'd go, "Mark me, mark me." But it's true. Look, I just had another thing that happened today with one of the other collaborators. Okay. Beautiful, 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 beloved sister, man. I mean, connection goes back a couple of years. You know, so I don't want to get too, because I don't want to really identify the person because I don't have their permission. But they basically came in and said, from day one, I'd love to help. And what I always respected about her is if she didn't like the energy, because we had chaotic stuff happen as we were stopping and starting, stopping and starting, she'd just back up, say, "I can't be here," no judgment. Or if she had personal stuff to do on herself, she would just disappear. Right? Respect, total respect. So we got to a point where we're like, okay, this part of it's ready. You've got first dibs on it. Do you want to run with it? Because you're the one that brought it into the field. And she says, well, something's happening because, I've got responsibilities and I might have to take a job. Right. I'm like, cool, whatever. So I got a note from her after having this exchange with Shanine and then Marina. Then I had this last minute thing with her right before the show. And she's basically saying to me, this is what's going on. Looks like I might, take on a job. You know, if you feel like I need to make a choice, this is why I brought this up, what you said. If you feel like I need to make a choice, then just let me know. And I said to her, I don't think there's anything to make a choice about. If it's meant to align and in other words, what you said, I have total trust in it. And then she hit ditto. I do too. I think everything will be fine. I said, let's talk later. But the reason I bring that up is because of what you said about the choice, right? I mean, this frequency that's developing, that's expanding, that we're expanding from previous templates of previous incarnations, call it the Akashic, that we're developing. Really, when you're in that space, there is no choice, right? There's no choice to be made because you are in the flow. And I know that sounds a little cliche, but it's true. The sequential unfoldment of your day is the biggest synchronicity and validation that you can see. It's right there. And again, raw, real, responsible, relaxed, and you put in some other great ones too. But yeah, I think this is we stay with ours, the rebirth, the rejuvenation, the regeneration, the resurrection. But I mean, I think we're in the midst of our expansion of why we came here. And these are the nuts and bolts, in my opinion. These are the nuts and bolts. Call it out. Call it out in yourself and be careful calling it out in other people, and I'm guilty. I did it yesterday or Monday on the show. I said, And I'm going to just be straight with everybody. I said it on the show. I said, I've got a real problem this morning. The show had just started with Delia and Michael. And I said, I got a real problem because I'm watching these people who are out there that have followings. And thank you for getting us to this point. And thank you for being with us on the journey from here forward. But you can kiss my ass, because there's no room for political discussions and polarization and projection and calling people out. I'm watching a conversation between two esteemed leaders, whatever you want to call them, having a cat fight on a post because I channel so-and-so and I know this and I know the correct history of the galactic. Bull fucking shit. You don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. I'm nothing. Because I'm nothing, I'm everything, and this is what we're getting to, and so we're in the final phase of ripping off, and it hurts. It does. It fucking hurts. People are talking about death in a way that I've never seen them talk about, and we're not talking physical death. There are pieces being ripped off of us, and it's okay. We can do it, right? This is it. This is the real deal. This is why we came. I'm excited.
No, I am. I can feel this. I can feel it. And in the week, I've had a hell of a lot of inspiration this week. And people call them downloads and stuff like that. I've had so many powerful ones. And I think, like, where did that come from? And it's coming into me. And I'm saying, as it's happening, what is it that you're trying to show me? And I got, translate this, Joe. Translate this. And what I had was, I was taken back to the 12 sphere tree of life, the Kabbalah, and I've worked with the Kabbalah and the archangels for a long time, because it coincided with my Catholic upbringing and it seemed to fit together. Now I understand that there's more energies besides the archangels and stuff like that. I understand all that now, that there's different subtle energies that can, the more we let go, the more we're in tune with more subtle vibrations. Talking of subtle vibrations, I know David Icke's coming on. In 1992, that's when I stopped drinking, Todd, right? In 1992, the first book that I bought and was guided to it was called Truth Vibrations, written by David Icke, right? Yeah. And this is no shit, mate, honestly. In fact, it's back again now. I got the thing going up my spine again. I got onto this. I got onto the second page, and it said, he was explaining how he went to go and see a medium, right? And he was laying there having some healing done, and he said he kept getting the feeling that there was a hair on his face, and he was trying to get shut of it. And then he said, I understand now that sometimes, right, when spirits are with you, it feels like there's a cobweb over your face. And this is true, this. On my face then, I felt like a spider had laid a web on my face then. And I got this big shoot up my spine, really. And that was almost like another activation for me. And since then, those things have been happening for years and years and years now. And I get this sort of feeling that when I'm really in line now and speaking just as it's coming out, right, I get this feeling that my spine opens and I get this like fountain feeling right now, So I understand vibrations now, but I didn't then. And, Todd, a lot of the stuff I get, I haven't got a clue what it means until I sit with it and they start feeding other bits into me. So this is what I got in the week. I got, Joe, explain genetic coding like this, right? And I got, it's a script. And I said, yeah, I know that. Because this is how I talk to spirit, Yeah, I know that. What are you trying to tell me, And I said, well, think about insertion and deletion. And they gave me two words, Todd. One was violent. And I said, let's do a deletion on violent, Joe, and change it. And it became violet. I thought, oh, that's good. Because, so I got that one. And the next one, I've written them down here because they were so good. So I also got cursed. And I go, let's have another deletion, Joe, to cured. Right. I thought, that's good. Right. And then it got, not only are there additions and deletions, but there are reversals. Look at evil, Joe. What's that? Right. And we know, don't it? It's live. Right. Do you see what I mean? And this is what was feeding into me. And I said, Joe, what's coming through now? We've got astrological changes now in the cosmos. This great cleansing light is coming in And they explained it to me. They said, and what it's doing, Joe, not rewriting your script, it's erasing all the script to leave you with a completely blank slate so you can start again from the beginning. And you've just said about words with R. Any word beginning RE to me is a bit of a sort of a trap, because to redo something means it's not novel. It's not novel. It's not new. So any regurgitation means it's been done before, and therefore it's not evolution, it's just revolution, and that's what we want to avoid like the plague. I don't know whether I'm making sense here.
That's a great point. So take the word rebirth. I used it. People use it. You're right. It's not a fucking rebirth. It's a birth. It is new.
Yeah.
And you mentioned David Icke, and somebody asked that the show's been on. It hasn't been on. It's on 11/18 or November 18th, 5 p.m. UK. So I want to mention this. Last night, I watched his movie that he made this year, either into last year or this year, called The Renegade. I thought I would watch it because even though I've watched a lot of his material over the years, I haven't had to in the last couple of years. I just plug in a little bit, see if he's got anything else going on. But like a lot of people, he was a big part of my wake up. Okay. I don't think anybody's woke up more people in this world, honestly, than he has, whether you like him or not. So I'm watching this thing. I think it's about 2 hours long, and absolutely fascinating because it tells his story up until about the last 30, 45 minutes, where he really goes into the matrix apparatus and all that. And for me, just for me personally, it's overkill now because I know all that's there, and I've gotten what I need from it. And that's okay, because I know people need to be exposed to it. But whether you like them or not, this first hour and a half, because it's such a personal thing mixed with the issues, it's so real. It's produced so well. I was so happy that I watched it, and I would highly recommend it to anybody and everybody, because his story is our story, right? He got downloaded. He followed the guidance. He was ridiculed. He learned to laugh at himself, at everything. He never took his eye off the ball. I watched this man in this movie, and again, this is about at the hour and a half mark, where it's from there he goes into a lot of in the deepest level, the matrix apparatus. So the way he ended this segment, he was actually doing a live show, and I believe it was in his hometown. And you cannot argue with the truth frequency. No matter what's coming out of a person's mouth, you cannot argue with their essence. And I watched him, and he was talking, and I watched the tears well up in his eyes. I saw in his eyes, I saw his journey. I saw all the bullshit that he went through. I saw the pain. This is a man who said from his first download and on that famous show, the world's going to end in 1997, and Britain's going to be underwater, and all this stuff's going to happen. He had to eat crow, but he never took his eye off the ball. And I saw in his eyes through those tears, I saw his persistence and his devotion and his love and his courage. And I see that on this program, on Shanine's program, on your videos when you're out running, on Sifu, Paul Brighton. I see it in the crowd. I see it in their comments. I see it in the people when they say, I'm in tears. I see it when we connect and somebody's saying something on the show and people connect with it. I see it because when he did this show, he sits down with Alice Walker in Northern California, and it's fucking amazing. And they have that connection. And one of them states, or maybe it was another lady, I can't remember. I know it was her. And she said, when I saw your stuff, I knew I wasn't alone. I knew that, and how many times have we heard that here? So, the truth frequency is rising, and the raw and the real and the responsibility for ourselves is contagious, and there's nothing in the world that can hold it back, no matter what happens. No war, no quarantines, no fucking laws, no rules, no regulations, no borders can hold back the truth of the eternal soul and limitless energetic field and body that we all are. Thank you,
Limitless
Joe.
expansion, limitless expansion. But in order to get that, we need to let go, as you say, of expectations, because expectations are some idea on how we think it should be. And to say, I really don't know. And I do this every morning. People say to me, what do you think's going to happen next? And I say, honestly, I've got no effing idea. Well, what are you going to do later? I don't know. Honestly, and I've got people say to me, what do you think I should do? And I say, look, I don't even know what I should do. Please don't ask me what I think that you should do. But I've learned this technique called mindful breathing. And basically what it is it's just an out breath so that you can let go, sit still, and wait for the answer to come. Todd, I got this thing about unconditional love. It's not a frequency. It can't be a frequency. And it really can't be a vibration either, because a vibration must have 2 points. So there's a bipolarity in a vibration. I'm thinking, oh, don't be telling me all this. And I got Joe, it's all to do with there's no timelines in the present moment, because there's no time in the present moment. Therefore, it's complete and utter stillness, but pure awareness of everything. And this is just me on a run. I'm thinking, fucking hell, leave me alone. I'm trying to enjoy the scenery here, and this is all flying in. But what I got was the phrase, there's no time like the present. That's not correct, Joe. There's no time in the present. And I thought, I understand. And that's what that sacred space, that place of neutrality, there's no time. And if there's no time, there's no bipolarity, right? And if there's no bipolarity, there's no past and there's no future, as somebody's just put, then isness is the business. And so I always see this, Todd, it's what's coming up in front of us and presenting itself in the present moment as a present. There you are. Over to you.
Jeez, touche. Yeah, somebody said that today, Shanine, and when she was saying it, to me this morning, when it came back to me, I was like, "Did you tell me this in the ethers and lucid dream, or did you just tell me this like 3 minutes ago?" I don't know. There goes the time thing. But what it was what you're saying, which is, look, I think this is how she said it. I finally got to the point where all that stuff's moved out of the way, and it's really just what's in my face in this moment. So my cat's going to the hospital, my kid's got colic. It is what it is, and I'm going to be here present, and I'm going to do something with it, right? And so yeah, I get what you're saying, and I've been in this mode lately of I don't know. It's almost like it's not an impatience. And it's not it's not like anything that's upsetting. It's just like, it's game time. Like, it's game time. Let's do this, man. Let's do it, because even though there's no time, I get that. But man, we've got an opportunity. We have got an opportunity to do something amazing, like something not earth shattering, something universe shattering. And I mean, it comes from the individual. And it comes from honoring ourselves, and it comes from saying no. Now that sounds kind of negative, but it's not. It's just simply saying, this is my field. I have worked my ass off to identify what it is. I can now come to this awareness where I can realize that I can actually create in my field whatever I want to. So if something presents itself to me, is it encroaching on my space and I'm going to take offense to that? Or am I going to look at it and go, that's interesting. No, yes or no, yes or no. So it's not personal. My kid wrote me last night, 19 years old. She has been a grandmother's soul since the day she was born. She saw dead people when she was 2, 3, 4 years old. I mean, she's carrying some type of huge ancestral lineage trauma that she's converting. She's a powerful, powerful soul, but she's also 19 years old, living on the earth, been on her own for 4 years, and it is what it is. And she says, I want to expand. I want to feel good about myself. I want to raise the bar, you know? And I told her, I said, look, there's one rule for everybody. No one's going to do it for you. That's just the way it works. It's the same for me. It's the same for everybody else. But here's a little advice from your friend, not your dad. And just remember, a big part of this is not who you think you are. And it's not what other people tell you that you are. It's you tuning in, following that guidance, having that continuous conversation with the universe, that communion, okay? And moving forward, you know, and yeah, is it a little bit scary? Yes, it is. Is it a little bit? Yeah, absolutely it is. Every one of us, every single one of us, including me, no doubt, second guesses a little bit, you know, has a little bit of shakiness in their confidence. But you know what, Joe? I think it's getting better and better and better every single day because people's balls are growing, you know? And that's why I'm excited more than anything about the David Icke thing, because it's going to be what I know it's going to be, because everybody will engage the truth in a no bullshit conversation. It doesn't have to be about did this happen and did that happen. What's going on with you? Just like you share, just like Shanine shares. You know, that's a powerful, powerful thing. Shaz Hargreaves did it yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, that's just like, whoa. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Powerful, you know?
Todd, I just feel that we've got to know how to get out of the way. You know, it's the only battle comes from the ego, because there's no battling in love, is that you can punch with love. People say to me, well, you know, you say that you're not going to do anything. Well, all this is going on. I said, no, hang on a second. Action still needs to take place. They call it inspired action. It's the reaction that's the problem. There's the re again, because the re is an emotional reaction to a perception of threat, right? So what you have to do is feel the reaction, take a step back, sit, breathe out, let go, find yourself in that sacred space, and then ask again, please show me. Is there any action that I need to take here? And if you don't get a push, don't do anything. And if you get a push, do something. It becomes really, really simple. And don't think I like this all the time, Todd, because I'm not. Because the last 2 weeks I've been up and down like a bloody yo-yo. I woke up, as you know, I woke up about 2:10, and you had a show on with a lovely lady. I think she was Irish and stuff like that. But she talked about her connection. Here it comes again. See, I'm getting it again here. Right. She talked about the connection she had from Egypt to Ireland. Right.
Oh,
yeah. And honest to God, Todd, you know, I think I put some comments in and you said, Joe, because you don't comment on things, but you said on that one, Joe, I agree with you. It was as though I'd known this woman all of my life, right? Yeah. And I went back and did some digging, and the consciousness stream that she's coming from is the one that guides me. And it starts off, right, before Egypt, right, much before, in the stars and stuff like that. But the Egypt link goes on then to the Essenes, right, you know, and the Gnostic Bible and all that. That Magdalene Rose line thing has guided me all my life. And what I used to get is, it used to go to Glastonbury, and, you know, I've been to the tour and been doing a few things on the tour, you know, and then it used to then not go to Scotland. It used to divert off into Ireland and then over to Scotland. Now, when I started to read the stuff that she was going on about, it fitted my consciousness at depth perfectly. And it made perfect sense to me. And I started to get all these like visions that I get up, you know, and stuff. Todd, I'm having loads of those. I'm waking up at 1 and 2 and 3 in the morning. Yeah. I'm wide awake. I'm sometimes watching a show, and then suddenly I'll drop off again about 4:30 and wake up about 6 o'clock and stuff like that. And I don't question it anymore. That's just the time when I seem to be open to a lot of this stuff, you know. So there's so much happening. I believe you met a couple of my mates, haven't you, in that place you've been at? You
In
know,
Sedona?
in Sedona, yeah. That mad woman from Texas,
She's
Kate
a
the
nut.
art.
She is something else. She's beautiful. Yeah,
Oh,
she's beautiful. Yeah. Who else was it though?
the
That's one.
Lees, right?
Who? Who's
Where
the
you
other one?
stayed, right, in the condominium.
Oh, Ashley.
Yeah,
Uh,
Ashley Lee. She was
yeah,
the
Ashley.
first person a few years ago. She's the first person I ever did a live with. I wasn't used to it then. I didn't know
Oh,
what this was
really?
all about. She invited me as proper Dr. Joe, not the piss taker. She she thought I might have something sensible to say, so she interviewed me. And her and Ashley have got a link. Me and Ashley have got a link as well. So there's all these things happening in my life. Planetary sort of associations are happening all over the place now. Something else that's coming to me is I understand that Gaia is also transforming to Tara. And this is stuff that I've got no idea what it means. But I keep getting an idea of this crystalline grid, and apparently I'm a grid worker. I don't know what that means, Todd. I just sometimes go to places and get these funny feelings. But apparently that's bringing energies down into Mother Earth so that she can transform to her next level of being as well, And I always think I'm back on the way to the psychiatric department because I've been there a few times, I was hospitalized 6 times in psychiatry departments, right? And as I've said in some posts, I felt more at home in the lockup ward, right, with these nutters who were probably closer to the truth than anybody. I felt so at home, and I was afraid to come back out into this so-called world, which was a world that I don't fit in. I do not fit into the 3D world. And, part of me every morning is the sooner I'm off the planet, the happier I'll be. But I keep getting, hang on, Joe, hang on. You've got a job to do.
You're not going anywhere.
Well, I know. I mean, but,
Joe.
No,
Joe, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Joe, you've got a job to do. Carry on. You're doing all right, son. And that's where I'm up to, Todd. I've no idea. No idea.
Yeah, you do, and you do a hell of a job. We got 7 minutes, and before we lose this, I want to just tell everybody, 179 people, thank you for showing up, that Shanine Moulin and Michael Mejia are going to be on, I believe it's on her Facebook page in 7 minutes, and that should be a very, very powerful hour. It should. So I'm encouraging everybody to go over there. We have a question. I think it's a very good question, and it's because and it's in the framework of what we've been discussing, at least a large part of this, in the beginning especially. I can't see who it is, and I want to thank you for your comment. I can only see names, I think, from YouTube and from, I think, my page on Facebook. So it says Facebook user. We're both gonna hit this one. So Todd, you might be able to help me out. Whenever I'm listening to anyone putting all these subjects into words and conversation, all I think is that the people talking require some sort of attention. And furthermore, I have issue with anyone that uses the expression we. Personally, I'm not part of anyone else's we. I'm not going to be dragged into anyone else's bullshit. So I think that, and I'm not picking on this person. In fact, I really appreciate that they brought this up, because I think this is a great example. Now, if we take the person out of the picture and take the words out and look at the energy, it doesn't matter if the energy is complementary or critical, right? I have an energy field here. I'm doing my best to, and I'm only using me as an example. It's not about me. The person it has their own energy field. The person is consciously navigating this transition we call ascension, which means listening and then having, and then taking the actions, like you said, Joe. So an energy presents itself. Here's my field. I have a choice. And my choice in this example is, I don't know. That's not my, that's not going to come into my field. Not because I think it's bad or anything, but I don't have an answer for you. I don't have an answer for you. You know, I personally say we, you know, because I'm all about oneness, and because I know that's where we all end up. But this is not a debate. I'm just trying to use an example of we have a choice. That is how we get to that choiceless frequency, by making the choices until there are no choices to make. You know, I don't know if you want to add to that or if you want to go to
Yeah,
something else.
it's funny that should come up, because before I was thinking of the royal we. You know, the monarchs in England, they say we, you know, because they feel that they're connected to God and that it's the divine speaking through them. So that's the we I'm talking about. It's really one, but it's we. And I think Jesus is reputed to have said this, right? That I am and my Father are one. So there seems to be some sort of differentiation, right? But he's trying to say that both of or us are one. It's really quite difficult, this, but I think that because we're speaking out of a human mouth and stuff like that, there's always going to be some sort of bipolarity in the 3D world in order to assist, right, communication. You know, I don't know whether that makes sense, but to
Yes.
me, you know, it's a merge, right? But because we've got a left and a right brain until we become fully enlightened and we're totally one in that choiceless awareness, I think there's always going to be a this and that, right? So there's this, that, and the other, and that's another trinity to me. You know, I don't know, Todd. It's hard to explain in words, and I think once you start to try and refine words to explain something,
Yeah.
often it actually obstructs what you're trying to say.
Absolutely.
So what I'm trying
Absolutely.
to say is, I do sort of know, but I'm clumsily trying to explain it and making it worse as I'm going along. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, you know, less is more, and we're all learning that, and we're all learning, man. I mean, this is it. I mean, I don't want to dig into Shanine's time, but several people, or a couple of people asked, what is the name of her page? And there it is, Shanine Moulin. Okay. And I would highly recommend you watch it. And I wanted to mention another thing. In regard to David Icke's movie that I watched last night, The Renegade. Renegade. There is a substantial part in, I would say, the first 45 minutes to a minute and 15, I mean, an hour and 15, where there is discussion about what we're talking about. And what I'm talking about is that I don't want to say that not he's not de-emphasizing the external things that he's researched and brought to light, but he's emphasizing the power that we have and that we are, you know, and he does some great explanations of it. So I would highly recommend that to everybody. And Dr. Joe's going to be back what next month in
yeah,
December. Um,
yeah,
but Dr. Joe, I know we joke around a lot, and I know, you know, but I got to tell you that, you know, the proof is in the pudding, and you're funny, you're humble, uh, you've got a tremendous amount of wisdom to share. You're not afraid to show your ass, as we saw in the picture, by the way, in the marathon.
yeah.
And I love the way you come in, and it is raw, real, and responsible. And I want to thank you, you know, because you inspire me and you keep me in check, and I value your energy. And I just want to say that publicly. And yeah, and give your wife a third eye kiss for me, even though you've never allowed her to be seen.
No, no. Ditto, mate, and I love you, brother. And you are my family at the deepest level, you know, and that's all there is to it.
Right on.
So, kiss to Morgan, and see you next time.